Peppa and George visit the zoo. One sunny morning, Peppa Pig and her little brother George were very excited. Today was a special day because Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig were taking them to the zoo. Are we going to see lots of animals, Mummy? Peppa asked eagerly. Yes, Peppa. We'll see lions, giraffes, monkeys, and many more, Mummy Pig replied with a smile. When they arrived at the zoo, Peppa and George could hardly contain their excitement. The first stop was the lion's den. They watched in awe as the majestic lions roamed around their enclosure. Roar, said Daddy Pig, pretending to be a lion. George giggled and tried to mimic the sound. Roar, he said, but it sounded more like a little squeak. Next, they visited the giraffes. The giraffes were so tall that they had to stretch their necks to see the tops of the trees. Look, George, they're eating leaves from the trees, Peppa pointed out. George looked up in amazement, clutching his toy dinosaur tightly. After that, they moved on to the monkey enclosure. The monkeys were swinging from branches and playing with each other. One cheeky monkey even made a funny face at George, making him laugh. Monkeys are so silly, Peppa said, giggling. As they walked through the zoo, they saw zebras, elephants, and even a crocodile. Peppa and George were fascinated by every animal they saw. At lunchtime, they found a nice spot to have their picnic. Mummy Pig had packed sandwiches, fruit, and juice. While they ate, they watched the flamingos standing gracefully on one leg in the pond nearby. This is the best day ever, Peppa exclaimed, munching on her sandwich. After lunch, they went to the petting zoo. Peppa and George got to feed the goats and sheep. George was a little shy at first, but he soon warmed up and giggled as the animals nibbled the food from his hand. Before they knew it, it was time to go home. Peppa and George were a little sad to leave, but they had so many wonderful memories of their day at the zoo. Thank you, Mummy and Daddy, for taking us to the zoo, Peppa said as they walked to the car. Yes, thank you, George echoed. You're welcome, Peppa and George. We're glad you had a great time, Daddy Pig said with a smile. As they drove home, Peppa and George talked about their favorite animals and all the fun they had. It had been a perfect day, filled with laughter and learning, and as the sun set, they knew they'd dream of their zoo adventure that night.